You guys sound great as always. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Welcome. It's good to see you here this morning. Come on in, take a seat. We're going to get started here in just a second. Glad that you decided to join us this Sunday morning, the last Sunday of the summer. Isn't that crazy? Fall's around the corner. Here we are. Glad you're here. Come on in. Hey, I want to just announce one or two things. One of them is that education is kicking off our fall education classes. You know, September is time to go back to school. Dr. Christian is teaching us foundations class. It's starting tomorrow night. No, tomorrow's Monday, starting Tuesday night, 2 days from now, Tuesday night. Go online and register, and we'll be sure that we have a workbook for you, or sign up on the clipboard. That's going to be in person here at Seaside on Tuesday nights. So sign up for that. We've got all such great things planned for you today. We are here with all of our practitioners, and we have some special guest artists, Ray Davis. We've got the girls. We're grateful for everybody. But what I'd like to ask you to do right now is just please stand for the congregational song.
I am the light of hope. morning, Seaside. Whether you're virtual or whether you are here in person, it is a joy to share this Sunday morning with us. Speaking of joy, didn't you wake up in Milwaukee today?
I did.
You did?
I did.
Like, so you're like bilocating, right?
That's right. Back on that grind.
That would be good. That would be a good workshop, right? You could outdo Tony Robbins instead of firewalking. You learn to bilocate with Rebecca.
Yes, there we go. There we go.
That'd be
We'll
good.
put it out there.
I like it. How'd it go there?
It was amazing. I played a show with Sheila E. and called Summerfest, and I guess they've been doing it for many, many years, and it was wonderful.
But do I understand you're going to be here in town next Friday night?
Yeah, Friday night. If anybody wants to come see Sheila E. live and in person, we're playing at Sequan Casino. So
oh my, that was
Friday
like my
night.
favorite spot to
Yeah.
see you. You know, on stage. I mean, I'd say Rebecca is playing. You know, Sheila's with you.
Right.
But anyway,
Well,
are tickets still available? I mean, they've got.
Last I checked, there were a few, but
They're
I don't
spacing
think,
out though, right?
Yeah. I think they're. I'm fingers crossed there won't be any available by Friday. So
yeah, I still remember that, and I remember your hubby Rico being Sheila's bodyguard. She was walking through the audience. Anyway, I thought that was fun. Yeah. Anyway, hey, welcome home. I'm glad the effort you put in to be here after such a big concert is really over the top. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You know, it's a lot.
I love my Seaside family. So.
We know that. We know
Thank
that.
you.
Hey, we got a great prayer today.
Yes.
We have got what we call our distant practitioners, and Sylvia Kearns. Why don't you come on up? She is a student in the School of Ministry, but also is involved with just working with the online program here for Seaside, handling the chat rooms, taking our Sunday prayers, living in, going home from here to North Carolina, but then you're going to your home in Oregon. So you're kind of bi-coastal with all that. But you were a tremendous blessing facilitating my ministerial class, the technology that was there, and we're just so happy to have you in person, recommitting with the practitioners on Friday night with that wonderful ceremony. So first time on our stage, one of your practitioners, and this is Sylvia Kearns.
And I'd like to welcome out our beloved Valerie Carlson, who will be our light holder today, and brand new practitioner. And we will ring the bell for that peace, setting the harmony within us. And as we breathe into this oneness, that is the allness of life. For there's only one divine consciousness that is everywhere all the time. It is present in the power that created the universe. It is present in the harmony that is created and holds that universe in place. It is the peace that comes from harmony itself. And love is the foundation of all of that life. For that divine consciousness is the breath that breathes life. It is the magnificence and joy of the reason for being. And I am one with that breath that breathes me. I am the harmony and I am the love of that consciousness as it flows in and through and as me, as life itself. And I know if this is the truth for me, this is the truth for everyone that within the sound of my voice. For as the love that is in me creates a ripple, and that ripple creates the peace, and that peace creates a harmony. And from that harmony, we have the power to live a joy-filled life. And as we learn to walk in grace through life's many challenges on this journey of life, we remember the power that we are.
All good, holy, holy. All good, holy, holy. All in my mind, in my heart, in my soul. Let me know all is good, holy, holy. All love, holy, holy. All love, holy, holy. All in my mind, in my heart, in my soul. Let me know all is love, holy, holy.
Thank you, Rebecca. All love. It's the truth. It's absolutely the truth. Oh, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here today. It's good to see all of you. It's good to see all of you. Thank you so much, Sylvia, for anchoring us in prayers. Beautiful. And for you and song, Rebecca. Glad to have you back here. And so, you may remember while Dr. Christian was in Montana, I teased you all with this event that we were going to have today, this 2030 event that was supposed to happen today, that was about our 20 years here in this building and 30 years of Dr. Christian as our minister. We were going to have a concert with Ray Davis after service. The board was going to make us all tacos. And it all got canceled or postponed. The board assures me that we are going to have a celebration in 2022, which I can't believe I'm talking about 22 already. It's just 3 months ago. But I didn't want to let today go by. I didn't want to let this month go by without us just really acknowledging Dr. Christian for the 30 years of service he has put here at Seaside. And I'm going to read a little part of the letter that you would have received in the mail. I'm just going to read a little bit. 30 years ago, a young minister entered our lives and hearts as Seaside's new spiritual leader. Dr. Christian was just 20 years old when he was ordained as one of the youngest Science of Mind ministers in a triple ceremony with his mother and father, Paul and Jackie Sorensen. Dr. Christian had just returned from Hawaii and was looking for a large center to serve and arrived to meet with a small group of founding members. And we were blessed to have Spirit give him a nudge. A single sign hung over the stairs of the meeting place that read, "Catch the Spirit." This same phrase was what was used at the center he had just left in Hawaii. Spirit shows up in all ways, and good for us, you know, that small group of, I think, around 25 of you that were here at the time. Now, 30 years later, he has led us with his joy, wisdom, and love through births, marriages, and deaths. We are so blessed to have him as our spiritual leader, and he has committed his life to serving our community. We love you. We're so honored to have you.
All right.
Yes. 30 years, half of Christian's life has been here at Seaside. And we know that, the family is a big part of what happens in ministries. A minister's wife and family are absolutely part of and impacted by the service of a minister. So love to you. Love to you too, Callie. We're just blessed. So stay tuned. We're going to have a party. We're going to have a party as soon as we can. That's what I'm told by our Board of Trustees. Dr. Christian's talk today is the journey of grace. The journey of grace. And I'm going to read just a little bit from the book called The Magic of the Soul, which is the book that I am using for the Journey of the Soul class, which is from home office. It's the book that they've assigned. So I'm going to read a little bit of that, and we'll get on with service. I'm reading from the chapter titled God. There is so much religious debate about who or what God is. The funny thing is that everyone is right. God is everything. Every interpretation of God is correct because God exists in every way that God is conceivable. In Hinduism, it is common to worship hundreds of different gods, but with the understanding that they are all different aspects of one God. The greater our ability to experience God, the more unified our understanding becomes. My understanding of God has grown in proportion to my own spiritual evolution. One of my early teachers, the late Dr. Earl D. Barnum, once asked, "How is your concept of God different today than your concept of God when you were 7 years old?" It becomes more and more clear to me and others. Did God change or did your understanding grow? It becomes more and more clear to me and others who go deeper into their faith or practice that there is only one God with many different faces. God in its greatness is so far beyond what the human mind can conceive that each individual is capable of only an infinitesimal degree of understanding of the totality of infinite divinity. If we use a diamond as a symbol of God, we can recognize that which each individual and each particular faith sees as the one God is just one facet of the diamond. There is a richness that goes deep into the diamond, and it is glimpsed by those who are fortunate enough to experience God. So, if you'd like to experience God, join me on Monday nights. So it is. Amen. Grateful that you're here.
Ooh, that was a great reading, Rev Deb. Thank you. Good morning, Seaside. It is my honor on Sunday mornings to introduce our guest artist. Today we have a wonderful guest. He drives down here to be with us from Los Angeles with his bride, Laurie. And Ray is not only an incredible person with an infectious smile and personality, he's incredibly talented. He's a fantastic singer, songwriter, trumpet player. Are you playing guitar too? Lord have mercy. This guy. This guy is so talented, and we're so blessed to have him be a part of our service this morning and a part of Seaside's family. He also is working on some brand new music. It's a surprise, so he's asking that we all follow his Facebook page, which is Ray Davis High Vibe Records. So please follow his page and stay tuned with a bunch of new music that he is going to be releasing to us and to the world. And we're so grateful that you're here. Please welcome Ray Davis, everybody.
Are you good?
Excellent.
Good morning, good morning. So, 2 songs today, all around the idea of tikkun olam, which is Hebrew for heal the world. And this first song is based on the teachings of Yeshua you'll find in Matthew chapter 5, a passage of scripture known as the Beatitudes. If you are one bringing light to the darkness, then the rising sun will call you blessed. If you are one who in darkness will nurture the light, then the setting moon will know your name. This is called blessed. bringing light to the darkness, then the rising sun will call you blessed. If you are one who in darkness will nurture the light, then the setting moon will know your name. Your name is blessed, for you are tested, for you are rebuked and you are scorned. Though they revile you, they can't defile you, for all receive the just reward, just reward. If you are one being light in the darkness, then the blazing sun will call you blessed. If you are one who in darkness reveals the light, then the setting moon will know your name. If some accuse you, if they abuse you, it's just that they don't know what you are. They have rejected what you have accepted. They fear the light and you shine like a star. Blessed is your name, even as they set their evil eye upon you. So rejoice again, I say rejoice, as you make a choice and raise your voice. Food for the hungry, shelter for the homeless, water for the thirsty, support for the oppressed. See, you are the blessing when they pray to be blessed. There's no need to fight when you are the light. Just shine, shine, shine. You're the promise of light in the darkness, and the setting sun, he calls you blessed. Oh, lovely one, from the darkness shine, shine your light. For the rising moon, she sings your name. Your name is blessed, blessed. La 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 la. Your name is blessed. Oh, blessed, yes. La 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 la.
And that is Ray Davis, the multi-instrumental marvel. Oh my goodness, that was just, man, I knew you played horn and piano, but now a guitar. Oh, thanks. Yeah, good job. Hey, thanks for coming down, Lori. Man, thanks for hanging out with them. You know, it's like as if you don't see enough of them. You drive all those hours. You know, we appreciate it for sure. Hours and hours. That's it. Anyway, a beautiful song for the season. So, hey, this morning my message is the journey of grace. I mean, I'm going to do a journey, and might as well be grace-filled. Otherwise, who knows what it is you get. And I, as you know, last week we were over in Montana. We're sitting on our hilltop, and I'm looking at our various trees that are sitting up there, just the aspens just whispering or quaking with the wind and sparkling with the color, and then the pine trees, and you know, some of them are straight as can be and reach to the heavens 100 feet. Others are like bent in half on our hill. And I noticed that we've got this one large tree whose trunk has wrapped around this one fir, and they're entangled. And the wind blows, and as if, I don't know, you could think they were fighting or battling, but I think they're dancing. You know, they're in perfect harmony, you know, for this last year. And I don't know how long they're going to last entwined like that. And then there's other trees that aren't growing. And you just look and you observe, and it's as if you allow it to be, because there's really nothing you can do about it. So you just allow it to be. I don't sit there in judgment and think, oh, how sad, the beetle bugs got you. I'm going to cry over that, or these little ones aren't growing because they don't have the sun. It's just you allow them to be without judgment. And then I go and I'm with people. And all of a sudden, that allowing with their challenges and their difficulties aren't there. It's like, oh no, the mind starts clicking in. And I don't want to say I get judgmental, but it's like, can't you get off that one? Or, you know, whatever that challenge is that is going in, and all of a sudden grace doesn't seem to be the experience in that moment, because now I've got emotions and feelings and all sorts of stuff. And so I figured the best thing I can do is just try to treat everybody as if they're a tree. I just allow them to be. But that's what grace is. Grace is an allowing spirit to have its expression without a judgment, without thinking that it's supposed to be one way or the other way. I can just observe and see the presence of God, and it's not growing because there's not light there, or that tree's bent because it's reaching toward the sun. And grace is just that allowing. And E. Cummings, he said that it takes a lot of courage to grow up and be who you really are. Got that? That head, we don't necessarily judge others, but we put upon ourselves. And it takes a lot of courage to grow up and be who you really are. This is who I am in the world. I am standing proud and bold and with my self-expression, and this is who I am. Take me or leave me, and I don't care what you think, because I am allowing myself to be that expression of God. And what grace is, it's courage under pressure. I've got that figured out now. Grace is the courage under pressure to be who I am, to be able to be present for the presence of God, and to recognize that Spirit is offering all sorts of ways of seeing things in a new way, allowing Spirit to teach me. I look at those trees and I see that they're being fertilized by their broken branches and the leaves that have fallen and the pine needles. It becomes their mulch, it becomes their nourishment. And if we can allow our challenges to be the nourishment, then all of a sudden we begin to allow ourselves to grow into that which we really are, by allowing our life experiences to add to it as opposed to detract from it. But you don't really know that. Sometimes you don't really know it in the moment. I mean, it's like, this is horrible. But then again, there's the judgmental mind. But I've got this great teacher by the name of Dr. Seuss. And in his wisdom, he said, sometimes you don't know when a moment is valuable until it becomes a memory. Isn't that beautiful? You just don't know in this moment that it's going to be valuable. But as Reverend Debbie was singing about that sign that used to be above the door in Hawaii at my place, that phrase came from our baseball team, or our softball team, catch the spirit. We painted it above the door, and the week I left Hawaii, it burned to the ground. Our building burned to the ground. All that was left was the arch that had the sign above it, catch the spirit. And there I am, sitting in this little room on Cedros in Solana Beach, and I opened my eyes in meditation, and there is their sign above the door, catch the spirit. Now, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to get, there's a sign there for you, Christian. You got to be willing to learn in this moment and to allow the wisdom and the grace of God to show up, and not to sit with the judgmental mindset. Oh, that doesn't mean anything. Everybody talks about catching the spirit. It's like, see what the mind can do? See, when we are on a journey of grace, we are allowing that spirit to have its way. And there are moments that we don't recognize are profound, and I bring that up because sometimes those moments we may say things and do things that we don't realize that have an impact. And I share that with you in particular when I tried out for the school choir, and they told me I couldn't sing. They were just being who they were, but it was devastating. Then I have a godfather who says, Christian, well, it's because you can't carry a tune in a bucket. At that point, I'm ruined for singing the rest of my life. It's like the singing and I we don't go together. And so really, I don't want any of us to be the one to really to deflate someone who loves singing and say you can't sing. I don't want to be that person who takes the way of a flamboyant dresser who has flair and pizzazz and all of a sudden you say something, the next time they show up in their life and they're dressed plain and drab. It's like, you got to be careful of those moments. And when I'm on a graceful journey, I am able to be aware that I am making a difference with what I'm saying and what I'm doing. People sharing their dream with excitement and passion and excitement. And next time you see them, they're quiet. That's the power of a moment that we need to be conscious about. And when I am on a graceful journey, I'm aware of what is coming forth from me is making a difference within somebody's life, and that I am not going to make it detrimental. I am going to be willing to stake my life on the grace of God. that the grace of God is something that is seeking to show up, and we don't get to heaven by putting other people through hell. It just doesn't work that way. I don't want to be the demotivating, de-appreciating, non-appreciative, hypercritical, sarcastic individual in my world. When I'm doing a journey of grace, I am conscious that every moment is a God moment, that the fullness and the blessings of Spirit is upon that place, and I'm not going to be a deliverer of the downer. I'm not going to be the deliverer of that which creates that negative impact in somebody's life. That if somebody's got a crazy idea, I'm not going to say, that's a crazy idea. I want to know, hey, are you crazy enough? You got a crazy idea. Hey, when Seaside found this property and we had no money, now that's a crazy idea. But you know what we did as a community? We came together and said, are we crazy enough to make this a reality? And by the amazing magic of coming together with a vision, showing up in the courtroom, filling the walls with practitioners, a courageous board of trustees, and some generous donors, Dale gave us $50,000, to get into this place. Steve Ostro put his condo up for collateral. We had a lot of individuals that came together to make a dream happen that unless we were crazy enough to be on this journey of grace with God, we would not have been lined up. If we had believed on a little moment that somebody said something negative, oh, you're not good enough, you can never do it, you got to have money to buy property, things like that, they get in the way, Yes, you got to be crazy enough to be on this journey with the grace of God that moves through us. Spirit moves in miraculous ways. It is truly amazing and wonderful. And, that doesn't mean you don't stumble sometimes. Blunders, we blunder. Boy, do we blunder sometimes. And I look back at some of the things I said I wish I wouldn't have said, or things I'd done and hadn't done. But the thing about blundering, I don't know if that's the word, it is now. But, our blunders cannot stop the grace of God. But the grace of God can stop our blunders. That's right. Hey, that's a good one. Tweet it out, man. Let's say I went Seaside. The Rev just said blunders. Whatever it was I said was good. Kind of, you get it once. No. Blunders cannot stop the grace of God. The grace of God can stop our blunders in our life. Yeah, and it takes some courage. And, I am willing to stake my life on the grace of God. I read in the Bible, actually it came the second chapter of Corinthians, it's chapter 9, verse 12, where it says, God's grace is sufficient, right? God's grace is sufficient. The power is enough for all weakness. God's grace is sufficient for all of our blessings. Do you believe that? Yes, well, that's good. God's grace is sufficient in all areas. That's it. It doesn't say all areas but this over here. God's grace is sufficient in all ways except, this cancer or whatever your concern is. God's grace is sufficient across the board. And my journey of grace is saying, okay, God, show me, because I sure don't get it. Now, I know this is a moment in which I'm in, but I'm not going to allow any of the detractors to pull me away from God's grace, because the fullness and the blessings of God's grace is sufficient. So I'm going to stake my life on God's grace. Are you willing to stake your life on God's grace? Are you willing to go out and buy a big piece of property if that's what your heart and desire is, without money in the bank? Are you willing to step into a relationship that says, I don't know, but I know I'm up for this one? There's something in me that's calling. And as we step into it, we find maybe some discomfort. And so I can either go to the concerns, or I can go to God's grace is sufficient here. There's a wonderful story. I don't know, it's wonderful, but I like it. It's a Rumi story. You can find it in, I think it was Harvey who wrote The Essential Rumi. And it was about a guy who went to, he said a barber. I don't know, did people get tattoos from barbers in the early days? No, I don't know. I sure wouldn't go to mine today for that. But Abby, you can take care of my hair all you want. But anyway, the guy went to the barber to get his tattoo, which could have been the problem of the story. But, and he said, I want one of those heroic blue lions. And this guy, the tattoo artist, said, okay. And he started, and just as he got him with the first thing, wait, what are you doing? And the guy said, I'm tattooing a lion for you. He said, well, what part are you on? He said, the tail. I'm just starting. I start with the tail. Well, leave the tail off, you know. And then, so he goes back and starts doing it again. Ah, wait, oh my goodness, what? It's like it's hitting a vulnerable part of my shoulder blade. What's going on? What part of the body are you on? He said, the ear. He said, well, leave off the ears. You know, and then he goes back again, and he starts, and the guy just screams. He said, what part now? He said, you know, the belly. So we'll leave the belly off, to which the tattoo artist or the barber throws down the needles and stands up and said, I just can't do it. Not even God can create a lion without a tail, a belly, and a head, you know. And so why I'm sharing this story is because when we're going for our dream, the big, heroic blue lion, we're going for the property, we're going for that relationship, we're going for this business endeavor, we're going for a greater belief than what is happening, there may be some pain along the way. It may be a little uncomfortable when you are stepping out, but if I recognize and choose to remember that I'm on a journey of grace here, and with God's grace, there is enough sufficient, whatever that is needed for this moment. And I'm the one who must become receptive. But you know what? It hurts or it's difficult. That is when you go to a spiritual practitioner. You know, our movement has got these licensed spiritual practitioners. They have dedicated their lives to bringing forth the presence of God into this world. They have taken at least 2 years to do the basic preliminary studies of our philosophy. And then after that, if they are so moved to be in service as a wonderful expression of consciousness, then they begin the 2-year professional licensing program. So they got a minimum of 4 years developing consciousness. Can't tell you, I watch people all the time go through foundations and say, hey, I'm ready to be a practitioner now. It's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. The journey takes some time. Things have got to come up. Because, you know, you learn it from in doing this thing in life. You begin to strengthen your skill set. You know, you become a better player by getting out on the field, right? You begin to deal with the challenges that come our way. And all of a sudden, this is looking like a biggie. But after a while, you recognize there is no big or small in the mind of God. That is all. Is what Ernest Holmes tells us. And so whether you're dealing with a cancer, a bellyache, a sore shoulder, COVID, you know, you pick it. There is no large or small. We're dealing with the presence of God, which is all, in all, through all. And our spiritual practitioners are trained in the art of knowing the truth in the face of appearance. Even if a lot of people are saying this is the way it is, it doesn't make it true. A lot of people in the middle of nowhere doesn't make it somewhere. You know, and so people can be stating what it is in a mass way, but our spiritual practitioners know there is no otherness to the presence of God. They are able to know that you're perfect, whole, and complete now, and whatever is necessary in one's journey of grace is what is unfolding in this moment for the greater expression of wholeness, wellness, abundance, joy, and self-expression, because we are courageous in growing up into who we are. So, but all are welcome. See, we're here at Seaside in a place where we bring in our aches and our pains, our concerns, because we're all on this journey together. So this is why we sit here without the judgment. You know, the thing about grace is it's kind, it is courteous, it is understanding, it is allowing. It is honoring everybody on their own individual paths. Wherever we may be, you're welcome here. You know, Ernest Holmes, this was important to him. I've got this wonderful quote. Marv, thanks. You know, Ernest said that our door will forever be open to all. Got that? Our door will forever be open to all, no matter where you are. Whether you come here in pain, whether you come here in glory, whether you come here in a mask or you come, you know, whatever it is we're working with, our doors will forever be open to all. Whoever you are, no matter your circumstances, be proud. You are a divine idea in the mind of God. Guys, be proud. You're a divine idea in the mind of God, and that is what we see. This is what we look at. This is what it is we know. And this is our practitioners who continue to know this truth. And they started with the foundation class, the very first class, and the basic principles and how they apply to our life. But they're willing to do that. And I want you to know the stories I hear of individuals who have walked through our door for the first time, it's amazing how you found this place. Most of you probably can't even figure out. I couldn't have figured that out, but something led me to this. That, serendipitous something brought us together. And I just want us to take a peek at, that something, that grace that brought you here. Carl Jung, the eminent Swiss psychologist, he was working with a woman. He was having a tough time breaking through her facade, her veneer, her position. And one of the times when she came back, he said, it's going to take a miracle to get through this. And she began to tell about a dream she had the previous night of a piece of jewelry that was given to her. It was a golden, beautiful scarab. And just at that moment, he heard this knocking on the window, tapping. Turned around, he opened up the window. It was one of those beetle bugs that are like scarab size. You ever seen like those green fluorescent ones flying around here? Green and gold. And it's like, oh my goodness. He picked this up and he handed it to her. And in that moment, she cracked open. He said, here's your scarab. It was like, he couldn't have figured that out. He couldn't have planned it. He coined this word called synchronicity from that experience. That these special, meaningful coincidences, these serendipitous moments, it's the grace of God, because we could not have gotten that beetle bug on that if I had tried, particularly since it wasn't its season. So the story goes with that bug. But how about your life? If it was class, I would ask you, Alan Cohen shares a fun synchronistic story. He was having dinner with his friend Bruce in Paia, Maui, a little local restaurant. And he went out that night. It was very crowded. And so they had to sit at a picnic bench, shoulder to shoulder to the person next to him, probably before the COVID time, I guess. And he was his friend Bruce was starting to talk about a trip that he did when he was in high school in Oregon, and went to Africa on service. The lady sitting next to Bruce's shoulder looked over and said, "You're kidding me. Bruce, I was on that same trip." And sure enough, they exchanged their pleasantries, and they were indeed on the same trip when they were in high school, and she ended up emailing a picture of Bruce at 17 on this trip with her. Now, you talk about synchronicity. How is it possible in a local joint hangout on the other side of the Pacific would two people be showing up at the same time, and that they would be having that conversation in that moment? You talk about the infinitesimal possibilities. That's big. That's crazy. See, this is the grace of God. Here's another crazy story is Thomas Jefferson, one of the sculptors or architects of our Declaration of Independence. He died, you probably know the story, 50 years later to the day on the 4th of July in 1826. But another part of that story, which makes it even more amazing, is President John Adams died exactly on the same day within hours. What is the possibility? I mean, it's not impossible, but I want us to begin to look at the odds that sometimes are stacked against us, that we don't really, that we allow to hold more weight in our life than the grace of God, because God's grace is sufficiency. I want to share this book because I like, from my school days, like show and tell. It's a kid's book. And I got this kid's book from Jason Heron. When I was in Ventura, for the first couple of years I was there, I'd take my Sunday message to Jessie. And she had Parkinson, and she was in her hospital bed in her beach house at home. And for 2 years we would listen to my talks, and then she died, and she left the beach house to be a minister's parsonage. So I got to live on the beach for the next 3 years, rent-free. It was wonderful. And there were some books in the house that I got, and this happened to be one of them. It's called Tugboat. It's a kid's book. It's first edition from, I think, 1936. And I've put it on my shelf. I've never really looked at it. I've carried it between my different places, Hawaii, Ventura. And I got it here, and I just recently pulled it out this year. And I was looking at it, and stamped in here was a name, Lee Torgeson. Well, that's an unusual name. And my babysitter's last name was Torgeson. She lived across the street, Peggy Torgeson. And I just happened to be talking to her again because her husband, Reverend Bob Bach, who'd been a minister in one church for 50 years next to where I grew up, just died. And I said, Peggy, there's a name stamped in this book. It's like your brother's name. She said, wow, that's crazy. I took a picture. I sent it to her. And she showed it to her brother, who's well into his 70s now, and got back and said, you know what? This used to be Lee's book. Lee had made this stamp when he was in junior high, Walter Reed Junior High, and he stamped that book, and sure enough, that was his stamp, and that was made, and here it is, like 50 years later. And what happened is when her mom and dad divorced, the county took the house, sold everything out of the house, and at this county auction, this book was sold. Jesse Heron actually bought this book at that auction in the late 60s, early 70s, held on to it until I got it in 1985, and here it is in 1985, and I was like, now I've got it in my hands. How is that possible? See, that's what I want us to get, is the infinitesimal possibilities of things by the grace of God. Somehow they happen. Paul Grayson, girlfriend, he was taking out to lunch. One of their first dates, took her out to lunch, bought a sandwich, got some change, and his girlfriend's name was Esther. The change came back, and there was a $1 bill with Esther's name written on it. He thought, wow, that's a good sign. So he gave the dollar to his then girlfriend. They later became engaged, got married. After they got married, Esther said to Paul that 7 years ago I went through a very nasty breakup, and I swore off guys until the guy who got this $1 bill that I'm writing my name on gives it to me, then that will be the guy I marry. Whoa! How is that possible? But I want us to get the synchronicity of how the universe lines up for us. It is crazy the way things happen. I mean, I got a million of these stories. I could tell you about Stephen Lee and his fiancée, Helen. They were going through pictures of their parents, and they noticed that in one of the pictures from their parents, there was the bride's mom and the groom's husband standing together at a very young point in their life. And when they inquired they came to discover that their mom and dad had committed to one another to get married in Korea, but their parents forbid the wedding. And now here, another generation over, their son and their daughter are getting married, and they will now have grandkids of something that had been forbidden. Wow, is that good? I mean, it's like these things, I want us to get our natural occurrences when we begin to step into it. And so when we fumble and bumble our way through life, not to sit there in judgment, but like a tree, you just notice, whoa, these guys are twisting. Whoa, they're broken, but they're fertilizing. You know, it's like, let us not get caught up that I blew this or I had difficulty. This is where I'm gaining my chops. Our practitioners will pray, and they have a faith, not a faith in God, not a faith in something outside. They have the faith of God. They're praying with a deep sense of knowingness. They are also willing to stake their life on the grace of God. So bring what mistakes you have, and with that sense of grace, it makes things okay. I mean, blundering, I should have told you this story about 5 minutes ago, but I did a big blunder yesterday, Ray, at the men's breakfast. 20 guys got together. They get together the third Saturday of every month for breakfast, and talked about my article, I understand, the Science Mind magazine. Must have been a brilliant conversation, you guys. But I was talking... No. But I was talking to Attila. You guys may know Attila. He's been part of Seaside for more than 20 years. He's been a past board member. He heads up our Boys to Men group here. So if you have a teen boy who could use some mentoring, we got this powerful national organization that has a branch here, and Attila heads up. He started, because of his love and passion for surfing, he started the 100 Wave Challenge, where they raise money through pledges to support the Boys to Men program. Well, a number of years ago, Attila developed cancer, within his, I don't know if it was melanoma, but it was on his arm. It didn't seem that significant at first, and so he continued surfing. His love for surfing was, unquestionable, until it really didn't work in the water anymore, and it began to spread, and the cancer began to spread within his body, and all of a sudden it got bad, and they needed to take the arm. It got so bad, and then the infections within his shoulders. It was a couple years that this went on. And it was there were multiple times where the doctors did not think he would live through this infection, that he would not live through this cancer. And Lisa, his bride, they fought tenaciously, unabashedly. And after a few years, he rose triumphantly against all possible odds to be able to stand as a healthy, whole expression. And then it didn't stop him. He took back surfing with only one arm. He took out, and he is known from Roundhouse to Grandview as the guy who surfs out there without an arm. But the part I really want to share with you that Achilles shared with me on is that last week he was talking to the people that had the U.S. Adaptive Surf Team. And they asked him to be, this year's roster is already full, but they asked him to be an alternative on their surfing roster for the U.S. Adaptive Surf Team because of his ability to surf so well. It is an amazing story. And as I am, walking away, I said, hey, I got out there surfing, the summer, but I don't think I'm going to, be out in the winter. He said, yeah, a little cold. You get spoiled with that warm water in Costa Rica. And I said, nah, that's not it. My arms just don't have the stamina they once had. And he looked at me and said, your arms? Talking about wanting to take your foot out of your mouth. Having not, wish I would not. But I want us to get that when there is grace and when there is kindness, when there is friendship, when there is love, when there is a consideration of family, those things are laughed off. They are not personalized. They're not held. They're not nasty. They're like, oh, Christian, here's a Rebecca, live with this one now. It's a moment, but I get that moment was a beautiful moment of caring and love and kindness, which is a beautiful expression of the grace of God. And so what we have got to do is be willing to remember that the ever availability of the grace of God is there for those who want that. If we want to remove ourselves from the judgmental, questioning, a sarcastic kind of mind or thinking that sometimes grasps the human consciousness and recognize that with God all things are possible. Ernest Holmes told us, or he wrote in his book, Words That Heal Today, you want to experience peace. You want to experience the peace of God, withdraw from confusion. That's it. You withdraw from the confusion. You don't make peace. Peace is already there. But that doesn't mean peace means you sit in your little protective cage. When you know that the grace of God is the journey that you're on, then you're willing to step into the game and begin to hone your skills, to be deep in your faith. You're not going to know faith unless it's challenged. Desmond Tutu said that you want peace. Don't talk to your friends. Talk to your enemies. That's pretty good, huh? And so what you've got to do is breathe in and realize I got to give up my judgment, because what I want here most is the expression of peace and that deeper kind of knowingness that all is well. And the grace of God is going to express here. And that, it may not be coming from this person that I'm looking at, but one of the things Ronald Reagan said, he said is, we can't help everyone, but everyone can help someone. And that is the value of our community. That is the value of a family. That is the value of walking into this place when we're hurting and we're not feeling as sparkly as we think Christian is today. Or, it's like I have people, I don't come because you're always so happy. Well, not always. I just, make sure I am for you guys. It's just, this is where you come when you're out of balance. We are on this journey of grace together. And when one is down, this is when the other is there to lift you up, to allow you to remember and to recognize, at least what I believe, that grace supersedes the law of averages. Grace supersedes the law of karma. Grace supersedes the law of attraction. There is a divine essence that is far greater than our three-dimensional, five-sense universe that systematically tries to pull us down and back into it. Grace is greater than all of that. And what is important is that we allow ourselves to return to that place of allowing that spirit to emerge and where it is that I'm watching, because our world wants to teach us something new. And when we are available to be teachable, we begin to learn new things from what is lying before us, and I don't have to go off looking for it. All of a sudden, that mind becomes receptive, and it is the innocent mind that I think receives more blessings than a doubtful mind. Does that make sense? That if I have got this innocent, receptive mind of grace, I am more receptive. Are you constructing your destiny? Not are you, I should say, you are constructing your destiny with every thought you entertain. Do you entertain those thoughts that say you are magnificent, that you are wonderful, that these are great times that we are living in, something wonderful is emerging here, and I am able to see it? Or am I constructing a destiny synchronistically that pulls me down, that matches the vibration of those that are miserable, afraid, and in anxiety? We construct our destiny by the vibrational frequency that we cast, and then we step into that station. We step into that expression. It's not dictated by those that are on the outside unless we allow it to be our truth, and that what comes from our mouth, what stirs through our mind and our head, begins to be the dominating expression. And there is no doubt that the universe lines up synchronistically to deliver the vibration in which we're hanging out. And so we go back to that innocent mind that becomes more receptive to the blessings, and the doubtful, fearful mind that is receptive to something other than the grace and the blessings in a positive, uplifting kind of way. You know, it's said that a child will lead them. Remember that? Now, it doesn't mean like some 5-year-old's going to take your hand and say, hey, follow me. I think it has to do with your inner innocence, your inner child that believed. Remember when you were younger and you believed you could do anything? Somebody said, what do you want to be when you grow up? You never stopped to figure out, how am I going to do this? I was clear. I was going to be a star. I was going to build a high-rise. Whatever it is that was in your heart and soul, there was something that knew it was possible. When we live in that sense of the possible, what happens is our mind becomes open, and the open mind is a doorway for infinity to pass from the abstract into the relevant, into the concrete. And what is it that you want to bring from that infinite side? Well, if you're on a journey of grace and you are available to the blessings and the good of the Spirit, then what begins to show up for you is a reflection of where you're hanging out. Your little kid knew it. You've been on a journey of grace since. It's time to return back to that deeper knowingness that this journey is grace expressing as my life now. You'll be filled with gratitude, which is a wonderful confirmation you're doing the grace thing. God bless us as we live that in our life. Hey, Ray, you got another one for us. One more. Let's go. You had a whole bunch for us after service today, I understand. Yeah, man. We're going to have to do that another time. I'm going to miss that. It's all right.
Yeah, that's a powerful talk. It's one of my favorite things about coming here to this community. I mean, I love y'all, but man, goodness. Christian Sorensen. Woo. Thank you. Tikkun Olam, heal the world. And so in a time like this, where it seems like so many people are just, there's so much darkness, first place for me to turn is to turn within, see what needs to be healed here, before I go blaming somebody else. Yeah. So this song is called The Least of These. I've got something on my mind, and it's high time for my confession. To the world I may seem kind, and a success in my profession. But when I search deep in my soul, I find a hole about the size of your oppression. So I'm wondering now, can I be a solution somehow? Whatever I've done to the least, whatever I've done to the least, can see the signs. Maybe I don't want to name it now. Maybe I believe some lies, but it breaks my heart to claim it. Oh, and maybe I've been socialized to minimize the pain you feel and just reframe it. So I'm wondering now, can I be a solution somehow? Whatever I've done to the least, whatever I've done to the least, whatever I've done to the least of these. Well, I've done it to me. I just can't take it no more. Blaming somebody else for my life. For my life, oh no. Now I am ready to start. I'll change my mind, change my heart. I will open, really open to love, to love, 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 to love, love.
Hey. This is Ray Davis. My goodness. Man, that is good. That is, whew, what a message. That is a good one. Thank you, Ray. And trumpet, guitar. It's just, so many talents in one person. Man, that's where mine went. Anyway, hey, this is a time of service where we have the opportunity to unite together in our givingness and the sharing of our love. And as we give, it comes back. But it's not why we give. It's an extension of who we are. It's the activity that Spirit is having. And we become that avenue through which God passes into form. It allows us to know that our source isn't coming from anywhere outside, but rather, something that is coming from within. It says in Saviors wanted, inquire within. That's where you got to go to recognize that you are the abundant expression of the divine in your life. And so as you give, it comes back, multiplied, pressed down, running over, enough. And you say, well, that's plenty. So anyway, I just want you to be receptive in your givingness. And so with that, I'd like to invite our ushers to come forward at this time. And I want to say thank you to this wonderful crew of just individuals that are here to greet us week after week, to really help create a sense that this is family. And so I share this prayer of gratitude with the most generous of spiritual communities, knowing that this truly is a blessed moment where the fullness and the grace of God unfolds as our very life. For the richness and the expression of God has its way in this moment as our activity. For truly we become that place where Spirit moves into expression, bringing forth that energetic flow of the gifts of God, blessing our world, healing our world, just bringing ourselves into a wonderful alignment, moving us from the sense of theory and principles to one of practice and activity. For the activity of God's abundance is our very life now. We share it from the gratitude and the joy, and what we find is more joy and gratitude showing up in our life, for our source is inexhaustible. We move forth in life with the security, with a sense of peace and well-being, knowing that whatever shows up in our life, God first shows up as well. Take care. So I say thank you, Father, Mother God, for the opportunity to have a family community that brings forth the spiritual message in a way that aligns with my heart and soul. So with love I give, and with love I receive, and so it is. Amen. Together let us say this affirmation of abundance, which is, Spirit continues to bless my world. Gratefully I live as the giving expression of Spirit, opening the floodgates of the affluent flow of greater good as my life now. All right, man, that's a smooth and great job, man. That is Ray blowing that trumpet, playing the guitar, singing to us, and moving our heart and soul. Ray Davis, thank you so much. Sitting in with your buddy there, Bob Mathis, blowing that saxophone. There's Harley chatting it up over there with Paul. Behind that, big old Busendorf and Max on that Paul Lloyd Warner Busendorfer. Great job. Great sound, guys. We love you. Appreciate you. Rebecca, thanks for flying in from Milwaukee at some absurd hour in the morning to be with us today. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. Have a great gig at Saquon Studio, the casino. That'll be great. And there's Melanie checking out for the next time you go away. She's going to be ready to step in. So anyway, and Debbie, it was your birthday this week. Happy birthday! Woo. Congratulations. And you got class Monday night. A week from Monday, not this Monday, next Monday, but it's called Journey of the Soul. 5 weeks, and Zoom in it, right? Zoom in, that's it. But mine starts this week, doesn't it? Tuesday night. So if you haven't taken the foundation class, that's the first class you take that opens the door to all the other classes that we offer around here. Tuesday night, it's going to be here live in person in our sanctuary. And if you want to be part of it, I'd love to get to know you in a better way, but it's the basic principles for creating our dreams, our destiny, and meditation I'll be teaching. But I need you to sign up today on that sign-up sheet at the education table, or to go online and sign up for the class, because I've got to have a workbooklet for you, and there takes some time to get that. So please sign up. It's going to be a great class. So anyway, I'm in my thank yous. That's why I'm lost. Ed, thank you so much for the sound. We appreciate you back there taking care of us. Marv, for giving us that PowerPoint up there and running those slides. That is great. We got Timothy behind camera 1, Edwin behind camera 2. These guys are pillars and rocks. Inside the editing room, we got Steve Grant back there this week making it happen. So it takes a lot to make Sunday go on, and particularly for you guys at home. We know you're there. We love you. We appreciate you. And we put a lot of effort so you can be part of this family. So, but with that, anything? Oh, Callie, your last minute. See, I don't know. Is it going to be open to all the women? Because I never know. Sometimes say something, sometimes don't. But like Wednesday night, it's the equinox, right? The fall equinox out in the garden, 6 o'clock, and it's going to be women only, and you're going to be doing a goddess thing that I'm not allowed to know about. Okay, so all women, go to the Seaside Sisters webpage, Facebook page, or talk to Callie after the service and find out what that's all about, because I don't really know. But it will be, there you go, the ceremony. All right. What I want to do right now is something we do once a year, and it's going to take maybe about 4 or 5 minutes. But once a year, the practitioners get together, as I mentioned, on this Friday night, and they recommitted themselves to one another, to supporting this community, to supporting the ecclesiastical team, and supporting this movement. And it's part of their relicensing process that the organization does, but it's also a commitment that our practitioners make to us. And so what I would like to do is invite our practitioners just to line up here on the floor, and I'll come down there as well, and spread yourself out in a comfortable way. And I like to have them make a public declaration to our community that, you know what, I'm here for this community to be available for prayer, to heal, to love, to do all those things. And we have got Ray Holder heading up our men's group, and just continues to be one of the pillar social affinity groups around here. And Carolyn Holder, who's been here, was on the board when we bought this place, and courageously said, yeah, we're crazy enough. And so thank you. And Sylvia Kearns, who you heard this morning, pray us in. And then we got Rebecca. She's actually a Reverend Rebecca, and she serves as that link between the ongoing practitioner activities and the ministerial conversations, and puts things together. And there's Timothy coming down. He's been running our camera for how many years now, Tim? 12 years consistently, has never taken a nickel for his time. Actually, he pays to host these things. So we thank you for your vision. He's a guy who's crazy enough to say yes to me. Anyway, Dee, bless you for being a wonderful practitioner at Seaside. You've got a year into it. And Robin, you got 20 years into it. And so Robin Mitchell, past board president, a couple times back into the hood and back home, and told you we'd save you a seat right there in the front row with your girls. And there we have got Sarah. My goodness, Sarah came in from Ohio to be part of this recommitment ceremony. So wonderful to have you be part of this community. And then we have got Rosemary, who was here on Friday night, is here tonight. A wonderful, just fresh consciousness in the practitioner level. And then we got Diane, who is a new practitioner. She is one of the greeters at every 9 o'clock service, getting here before 8:30 to set the house for all of us, the order. She's the one right there. It brings that practitioner consciousness. And another newly licensed practitioner is Valerie. Brings a wonderful holistic practitioner consciousness. The practitioner activities helps oversee our wellness group, or wizards group, or whatever you're calling that wholeness thing these days. We're grateful, whatever you call it. What matters is the healing that's going on there. So thank you for all your support that you've given us here at Seaside. Bob's been blowing the horn with the practitioner consciousness for close to 3 decades with me. So we love you, we appreciate you. And the loudest clapper is the teacher of the last 2 years of graduating Prac 2 students that got licensed. And just, Deb, thank you so much for your consciousness in getting this going. So I want to share these words, and listen, I'll ask you in a moment to share some as well. But I challenge all of you not to fall prey to the evidence of form, but to remember that you are greater than the physical facts that get thrown our way. For the old way of seeing things requires no effort. This is what you got to believe, but rather one moment in the divine, and you are free from the pull of the form, of scarcity, of pain, of tyranny, of the ego's vision. For in our high-tech, quantifiable society we live in, our head wants an explanation for everything, but the mind can't grasp or understand the power of the heart and the spirit and the soul that we're working with. We can only see the results of your knowingness. That is the faith of God, that I stand staunch on the journey of grace, of knowing the presence of God. And so I charge you to continue your spiritual daily practices, because we need you in this deep knowingness of the kingdom of God that is manifesting in this world. And to always be able to feel the presence of God no matter what evidence or earthly three-dimensional facts are presented to us. It is the human experience. Yes, it's why we come to you for prayer, but it's also because we know that you know that the kingdom of heaven is available always. You are the deliverer, the reminder. So in the midst of the grandest of confusion, the storms of life, you will remain a radiant pillar of calm, of peace, serenity, tranquility. You've got to remember to stop long enough to turn inside and remember who you truly are and to listen to that. And you'll hear God's voice sounding like your intuition. I challenge you to pioneer in a new spiritual frontier rather than be a settler in what has gone on before you. This is a holy moment that you stand in or re-step into every year. And it's through the rededication and vows that you are about to take and the ones you took Friday night that you voluntarily offer yourself to be used by God to help lift all of humanity above the pull of form. You have elected to join those who have gone before you, whose light has shined so brilliantly and shared it so selflessly in service to humanity. You have said, yes, God, use me. And so I ask you, do you so consecrate yourself as a practitioner of religious science, working under the authority and the license granted to you by the centers of spiritual living, that you will rely upon and adhere to the principles taught by this movement in practicing the art and the science of spiritual mind healing? And will you be ever aware of your high office and function and conduct yourself with a dignity, with an integrity, a moderation, and a sincere devotion in every act and in every conformity with the code of ethics of a religious science practitioner, and to know your deeds impact all of us practitioners? It's good. And you dedicate yourselves to whoever may call upon you in a time of need, that you will be constantly aware of the divine that is within all people, no matter what the outward diverse expression may be, seeing only the perfect spiritual person, perfect in body, perfect in mind, and perfect in spirit. And as a practitioner of religious science, do you bind yourself to absolute secrecy, keeping inviolate the confidence and the identity of those who come to you for help unless you receive their explicit consent to do otherwise? And you guys, we've got something to say back to them. Yeah, we got a little bit more than thank you, but that is true. I love it. Deb, lead us in this. Everybody, you read this together. We want to say this to these practitioners.
Okay. We acknowledge you for dedicating your life to continuously practicing the presence of God. We honor you for committing yourself to your own personal spiritual growth. We acknowledge you for knowing peace, harmony, and divine right action in the midst of confusion. We honor you for taking a bold stand for a divine and new thought where there is pain and misperception. By knowing in the ever-presence of God, there can be no otherness. We acknowledge you for dedicating your entire life to being a spiritual practitioner of God and of serving the movement of Centers for Spiritual Living and sharing your gifts of spiritual clarity and integrity with the community of Seaside.
We love you. We appreciate you. Thank you for being there for all of us. I'll tell you what, remain standing as I wrap us up with a quick prayer here, as I stand in this wonderful practitioner field of ecclesiastical energy that knows the truth beyond form. That if anyone is here today is experiencing a challenge that is caught in the pull of the human experience and is filled with the concern or the anxiety or the worry of whatever it may be that is calling to our attention, I know that it's caught up in the three-dimensional, five-sense world. But right now, as I stand in this wonderful field of this conscious awareness of the allness of God, that healing happens. For my journey is one of grace, and it is in this grace that I take my stance. And it is this stance upon God and the faith not in, but of God, that healing and transformation unfolds. My world is rich and blessed and in alignment with my heart and soul, that I am constructing the destiny with the thoughts that I entertain of blessed love and joy and well-being. being. So grateful to know that I'm part of a community, a spiritual family that loves and cares, that practices kindness and no judgment, and it continues to do its best to be a safe place for all to come through our open doors, as Ernest saying, being proud of who we are, courageous enough to grow up to be who we really are, which is an expression of God. And whatever it takes on our journey of grace, we are blessed and surrounded, secure, and at peace in this deep life's expression. So I say thank you for the words that have been shared, the prayers and the prayer requests that are being expressed, for the practitioners who are online in the spiritual chat rooms, the prayer rooms, speak the words of truth, waiting for us right now to call in. I say thank you for the wonderful outreach, virtually, physically, and our togetherness. So with love in my heart, I let go, and I let God, and so it is. Amen.
There was a time in my life, thought I had to do it all on my own. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know that love of God was at hand. No way.
But I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you've got to let it go. And this is what you have to say: I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. So no more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Then I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. So no more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Seaside, come on, sing it out loud. Beautiful.
No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light.
I am
Free in the Spirit.
the Son.
Only here
For God.
And our affirmation for the week is, my journey is an activity of God. Together,
My journey is the activity of God.
Touch your heart like it's your truth. Come on. My journey is an activity of God. One more time with a lot of heart and soul and spirit. My journey is an activity of God. Hey, I love you. See you next week. Bring some friends back with you. Let's fill up this place again. Be well.